Now, for the last number of years, France and Germany have been driving EU policy, in particular monetary policy, and they've been driving it in a particular direction. But that may be about to undergo a radical change. If the opinion polls are borne out, socialist candidate François Hollande will be France's new president. He's been talking in terms of Paris's way, not Frankfurt's way. But the question is this just electoral rhetoric, or is it a signal of a new direction, not just for France, but for everyone in the EU, Ireland included? Robert Shortt has been on the campaign trail.
Dans cette élection présidentielle.
Je vous apprends pas quand même. It's France's election, but all of Europe is watching. François Hollande, the Socialist Party candidate, has a consistent lead in opinion polls over the incumbent president, Nicolas Sarkozy. It's a battle to define the values of modern France as the country debates the demands of Europe's austerity.
It's clearly a crisis campaign. There's no way around it.
Immigration is a very easy scapegoat in these moments.
It is an open secret. Everyone knows that France needs to do something about its financial situation.
François Hollande has returned to a rally in Limoges, a city in the centre of France, a region where the socialist candidate cut his political teeth. The left is resurgent. Hollande's speech runs through campaign promises. He wants to increase taxes on the rich, employ thousands of new teachers and roll back pension reforms. Not everyone is convinced.
We can't go on with, critical deficits every year and a debt burden over 80% of GDP. However, politicians promise that this fiscal consolidation will happen without France having to take the tough measures like those taken by Italy, Ireland, Spain and Portugal.
France hasn't balanced its budget in over 30 years. Debt is mounting, but politically there's plenty of blame to go around.
I know it's a kind of a cliche that the socialists overspend when they're in power and that the right doesn't, but then the debt has never been so deep, and it's really the right that has been in power for the past 10 years in France.
François Hollande is now the focus of attention across Europe and beyond because he wants to change the fiscal treaty.
François Hollande has always said that he believes this treaty was negotiated between Nicolas Sarkozy and Angela Merkel, and that the key word is austerity, that it's an austerity treaty, and he believes that the momentum is shifting.
This is François Hollande, the man who has brought the socialists within sight of the Élysée Palace for the first time in years. He's tapped into the same discontent which has been felt by millions of voters across Europe in this age of austerity. He's challenged the political consensus on the fiscal treaty. But it remains to be seen, if he's elected, just what he can do to change it. Hollande supporters, hopeful of victory, believe Ireland's treaty referendum may be premature.
Indeed, it could be a problem for Ireland insofar as, the election is the 6th of May. Even if he goes to Berlin and we see that Angela Merkel is softening her stance, which I think could very well be the case. Indeed, it's going to be very, very close for the Irish to be actually voting on a text which is going to be missing a part of it.
The Havilland porcelain factory in Limoges is a world away from tussles over European treaties. Here, a highly skilled workforce creates a beautifully crafted product following a centuries-old tradition. It's expensive and distinctly French, but France needs to create more jobs. Unemployment has averaged 10% for the past 20 years. Employers blame high social taxes.
When you pay 10 euros someone and you have to pay 10 euros on the other side to the state and even much more, it's impossible to be competitive facing, even so with European countries. So obviously if these taxes go down, I will be more competitive and will get more job in the factory, of course.
Haviland's traditional markets were the Mediterranean countries, now devastated by the economic crisis. Today, oil-rich states in the Gulf and gas-rich Russians are its best customers. This purveyor of French luxury can also explain the Gallic cold shoulder given to its incumbent president Nicolas Sarkozy when he seemingly transgressed the French notion of a president.
The first years, everybody is always talking about bling bling and so on. Okay, this is the real beginning. He made some mistakes. He said that he made them, and afterwards he managed the country quite well, especially referring to the European crisis.
At the local Sarkozy campaign office, the austere spirit of General de Gaulle has vanquished le bling bling. It's all France fort and a desperate dash to close the gap in the polls. Today, the faithful will travel to a rally 3 hours away in Clermont-Ferrand. Frédéric Péronnet is in charge of the local party organisation.
On fait beaucoup, donc aller à la rencontre des gens, leur expliquer quelles sont les erreurs aujourd'hui du programme de François Hollande, qui pensent qu'encore que la crise est passée alors que la crise existe toujours et qu'il va falloir faire très attention, notamment aux dépenses publiques.
A forest of French tricolours welcomes Nicolas Sarkozy on stage. He speaks of France's position in Europe. His double act with Germany's Angela Merkel has led Europe's response to the euro crisis, but critics don't see it that way.
I think the Merkozy thing hasn't worked for France either, because the French have really felt that Nicolas Sarkozy was actually following what Angela Merkel was kind of deciding and supporting her, and the fact that they belong to the same political family, if you like, at the European level, maybe didn't help.
Nicolas Sarkozy is reaching out to French voters who feel insecure about their economic future, who feel insecure about France's position in Europe. But the hard part of his bargain is austerity, and that's proving a tough sell. Sarkozy speaks of the need to control immigration with strong borders. He's reaching for the votes of those who supported the far-right National Front in the first round. Afterwards, supporters like Frédéric Péronnet are fired up and ready to go.
Pour bien accueillir les gens, il faut être capable de correctement les accueillir. Et donc c'est pas arrêter l'immigration, mais c'est être fort sur nos valeurs pour d'abord donner l'amour de notre pays, parce que je crois que quand on est immigré, on doit aussi garder ses racines, mais avoir l'amour du pays qui nous reçoit. Et c'était le message d'aujourd'hui.
It is radicalizing the campaign in a very stark and I would say almost worrying way, because Sarkozy in particular needs absolutely the vote of people who turned to Le Pen in the first round. He is already starting to play even more than he was on issues of immigration and insecurity.
The rough edge of the rhetoric on immigration is felt by these people. We visited the Association of the Sans-Papiers in Limoges, literally without papers. They're the undocumented immigrants who number an estimated 200 to 400,000 in France. Across the table, tales of detention centres, years spent trying to get a visa, and frustration and dismay with politicians and the system.
Ils n'ont pas de solution. Il y a des chômages qui sont augmentés encore, et il y a la crise qui est encore là. Tant qu'ils ne trouvent pas la solution pour solutionner la crise ou pour solutionner les chômages, c'est nous, les immigrés, voilà, qui va payer le coup.
Des fois, je regarde la politique. Il y a des partis bien, des partis contre l'immigration. Je touche le cœur. Ça, moi et les autres, disons comme les autres. Si quelqu'un est gentil, cherche travail, ne cherche pas quelque chose d'autre pour vivre bien, sitôt comme les autres.
The issue of immigration is not new in French politics.
The National Front has been scoring in double figures in presidential election for quite some time. And so there is this core of a rather xenophobic, racist, fascist, some would say far right, that's been there.
In Limoges marketplace, voters' overwhelming worry is the economy.
Oui, bien sûr, c'est le chômage le plus important. Hein. C'est la clé de tout. C'est la solution. Hein. Si tout le monde avait du travail, il y aurait beaucoup moins de soucis, hein. Beaucoup moins de racisme, tout irait mieux, c'est sûr, s'il y avait du travail pour nous. Hein.
Les campagnes électorales sont faites pour pour faire plein de promesses qui ne seront jamais tenues derrière, puisque de toute façon, on n'a pas les moyens de faire ça.
The issues which concern voters here echo across Europe. The real possibility this close-run race could change the political mix at the heart of Europe makes it an election with implications for all of us.